Chicago Bears may have just made their biggest stadium move yet. The organization announced it is advancing plans for a potential stadium project in Hammond, Indiana, just days after Illinois lawmakers failed to approve legislation that could help support a new stadium deal. But before fans panicked, the Bears haven't officially left Illinois. This looks more like a pressure tactic than a final decision. The reality is, Bears fans are tired of hearing about stadium politics. They have finally have excitement around head coach Ben Johnson, quarterback Caleb Williams, yet the conversation keeps turning to where the team will play. Many fans also worry a new stadium means higher ticket prices, expensive personal seat licenses, and being priced out altogether. Arlington Heights still feels like the most logical long-term solution. Bears already own the land, and most season ticket holders live closer to that site. So is Hammond the future, or is it simply leverage in the latest chapter of NFL's longest running stadium drama? One thing is certain, though, Bears fans want answers, and they want this story to end. Just when it looked like the Chicago Bears stadium saga couldn't get any more complicated, the franchise dropped another major twist. After years of discussions involving Arlington Heights, downtown Chicago, Soldier Field renovations, public funding debates, and political gridlock, the Bears have now officially voted to advance a stadium development project in Hammond, Indiana. Now, before anyone starts printing Indiana Bears merchandise, it's important to understand what this really means. The Bears aren't officially leaving Illinois, but they are sending a very clear message to Illinois lawmakers. If you can't help us get a stadium deal done, we have alternatives.
Yeah, after 6 years of stadium drama, this is what many fans are just simply exhausted. As you said, less than a week after Illinois lawmakers failed to pass legislation that could help support a new stadium project, the Bears announced their board of directors had voted to advance discussions on potential development in Hammond, Indiana. The move immediately created headlines throughout the Midwest. On the surface, it sounded dramatic. The Bears potentially leaving Illinois after more than 100 years. It's a massive story. But the reality is a lot more nuanced, as reality most often is. The organization stressed that the discussions with Illinois lawmakers are still ongoing, while simultaneously highlighting Indiana as a viable option. So, in other words, it feels less like a final decision and more like a high stakes negotiation tactic. The Bears are saying effectively, help us build what we want in Indiana, or we have found somewhere else to go.
In Illinois, or we'll go to Indiana. My thing is, and this is obviously hits home here in San Diego because of the fact that
Mhm.
we lost an NFL team, and I was at the point of we got to do whatever it takes to keep the NFL here in San Diego. But I think San Diego is the first of a lot of cities to be like, you want a stadium, build it yourself. And you see that in California. Like, not a single stadium in California is getting built anymore unless it is privately funded. The days of like public funding for
Mhm.
stadiums in California are gone. In most parts of the country where taxes are not as high in terms of like, state income tax, if that doesn't exist, or like the way taxes are, people are more inclined to pay a couple additional, dollars per to make sure that they have a brand new stadium in their city and they keep their team. But when you are in states like Illinois, like California, like New York, that have these high state income taxes, people are less inclined to do that. And I think that's why you're in the same position right now as the Chargers were in of, you know what? The city's like, we don't want to build you a stadium. You guys are a multi-billionaire, $1 billion organization that's backed by a super multi-billionaire corporation in the National Football League. They should be able to build and improve upon their own stadiums. I think the days of this, fans catering and taxpayers catering to these NFL franchises are now gone. And I think the Bears are trying to leverage a better situation for themselves because at the end of the day, they already own land in an area. They could build their own stadium in Arlington Heights and just call it a day. They want it for free. They don't want to spend as much money. And this is where the problem is. And I think using taxpayers as pawns is gross on a lot of different levels. And I hope the people of Chicago basically go like, build your own stadium because the leverage again is on, I think, the taxpayer side. Where are they going to go? Like, they're going to go to Indiana. They're still going to be called the Chicago Bears. I mean, that's where all their marketing is and everything. It's just outside the city of Chicago. I mean, sure, fans have to drive a little bit further if they want to go to a game, but games are so expensive now, Frank, that you're only really going to like one a year anyway. And the ones that do have the money to be able to go to all the games that pay for season tickets, they're going to drive to wherever it is anyway. So to me, I'm on the side of the taxpayers here. Make the Bears build their own stadium.
Yeah, and they're tired of this. They are sick and tired of hearing about this because it's not necessarily Hammond. This has been years of this. First, it was renovating Soldier Field, and then it was moving to Arlington Heights, and then it was downtown Chicago lakefront proposal. Now it's Hammond. Fans just want to know where the hell their team is playing, and and they will find a way. Like you said, they will absolutely find a way. Yes, ticket prices are going to go up, concessions, all that, PSLs are all going to go up, but to the point now, especially for fans of the team. It's just like, okay, enough. Just where are we playing? We'll go.
And I don't think they're going to mention Indiana at all in their name. I haven't
No,
seen any
no, it'll be
report
the
about that.
Chicago Bears.
They're still going to be the Chicago Bears. So like, unless they move to a city and change their name, and move to a city that Chicago hates, it it really there's nowhere they're going to go. Plus, what's better for the Bears to change their, like, oh, the Chicago Bears is an iconic name. They know they can't change their name. That's why if you were in Chicago, it's like, go ahead. Why am I going to pay more in some type of tax for you guys to build a stadium that I can't afford to go to anyway? You have the money for it, build the stadium, and all they're doing right now is alienating their fan base that's probably had enough, just like a lot of fans have had enough with their teams in the National Football League when it comes to paying for all these streaming sites and everything. So, the next few months are going to be critical. The Bears continue talking with Illinois officials because, again, the leverage, they don't have the leverage. I think Chicago knows that. Indiana, of course, would love to see the Bears there because they could develop around the area, and they're going to make a lot more money on Sundays for the state, for the city of Hammond, Indiana. But as fans continue waiting for answers, at some point the organization will have to stop using stadium proposals as leverage and actually choose a direction and understand the consequences of their actions of, we either pay for our own stadium and stay in Chicago, or we move and maybe alienate some of our fan base.
Yeah, that's going to be the big question. I think that's going to be whichever one they decide that they can live with is the answer that they're going to make.
Fans don't care nearly as much about stadium politics as they do winning football games. And the unfortunate thing is, for the first time in a long time, the Bears may actually have a team capable of doing that. I mean, that's the thing. They actually have a team that's worth talking about, and instead they're talking about stadium politics.